live.
Oh, yes, we are.
No, we're not live, but we are recording now.
Okay, guys. For those of you who have not met Renee and Andrew, should we talk a little bit about how we kind of stalked them and found them to begin with?
Yes. Oh, now let me think. I think Andrew I found through another beautiful member of our Smart Chicks community, and went along to his awesome workshop and have had the pleasure of getting to know him more and more as that time's gone on. And Renee, I think I first reached out to you about a podcast that you run and that you were doing and connected and started that there. So,
we were like, IP and leverage, totes.
Oh, yeah.
We're into that.
Yeah, infographic porn, she's our kind of girl.
Yeah.
But of course, in time, you guys have gone on to creating the business Playroom. You've finished one series. You're coming on into a second that you've recorded, got in the can, and you're ready to explode and produce, which we're really excited to talk a little bit more about as well. Yeah. But why don't we start off with you guys telling us and telling the listeners a little bit more about your businesses and what has gotten you to where you are right now.
Who wants
Renee,
to go first? Renee.
Oh, okay. All right, great. So, well, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. It's awesome to be here. And yeah, so I kind of started in business about 17-ish years ago. I actually did accounting and finance at university, but anyone who knows me for more than 3 seconds can't imagine me as an accountant. So you can imagine how terrible that went. Yeah, I was actually offered a graduate position at Anderson Consulting, but yeah, anyway, that never happened.
Not there anymore, I know.
So basically in my business, I work with coaches and thought leaders to extract what is in their heads, all those years and years of experience, that expertise, that knowledge that they could speak for days without taking a breath about. All that awesome stuff, which is so complex, I take it out of their heads and I turn it into something simple. I turn it into a sexy model. Yeah. And to me, that is just business porn. I love it.
Yeah.
We have had the pleasure of working with you as well, Renee.
Yes.
And I'm not going to lie, I think it got to the point where the podcast that we were recording, there was just so much talk and excitement back and forth and infographics and business porn chat that I don't think we could even use it in the podcast anymore.
That's choppy.
It wasn't a podcast episode, but bloody hell, it was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
It really was. Okay, so Andrew, tell us about what you do, or tell the listeners more to the point. We kind of know what you do already.
That's a good question. I've been in entertainment. I got into acting, presenting, etc. at about age 20 in 1994, so you can do the math. Yeah. But my moustache still has lots of dark in it and not grey, have you noticed? And it's not mascara.
Can I just say, we were just actually pointing out that the dark in his glasses really was bringing out the dark hairs in his moustache.
Yeah, of course. And you know what I'm actually worried about? That I've talked about business porn so much that Egg's got the wrong end of the stick in the show we're making.
I just thought that's the memo I got, so I turned up with my little moustache, and obviously I'm in the wrong place.
That moustache is all the wrong show, dude.
Branding.
Awesome.
Look, to get really serious, but these do bring out the dark. In my early 20s, I had this grand idea that I wanted to change the way people communicated and presented on TV, because I just didn't feel like they were giving them whole selves. And when I say this too, it was a grand idea. I actually had no idea what I was talking about, because I hadn't even worked as a presenter. I hadn't even had a shot at doing this. So when I told my friends, I didn't have much of a support network that kind of backed that up. In some ways, you would think in your 20s that came from a place of ego, but it was already the seed of what I do now, already kind of growing. In my 30s, I was working constantly in TV. And whenever I was working, I had this sense that I wasn't satisfied, that I wasn't giving my audience all of me, all that I could give. It was action, smile, deliver my lines, stop and kind of wait for the next. And I always felt like I was giving them a very two-dimensional character. And if they were going to judge me, which they will do anyway, I wanted them to understand who I was, because I thought that I am a good enough person. At least they would go more easy on me. Does that make sense?
It does, totally. I think it ties in so well with what we always talk about being authentic in business. It's the same sort of thing. And particularly in the entertainment industry or, you know, in the acting space, you're primarily acting. So it is almost like you're never really getting to give exactly who you are. So I can see how that would be something that would, eat at you. Like, how can I authentically do this role?
So I had no idea, even when in my 30s and thinking, how do I give the audience all of myself? I still had no idea what that really meant or how that was going to play out until only last year, October 2017, the penny dropped speaking to another couple of thought leaders about grand vision. And I realized what I do now is exactly what that little seed was started to grow inside me in my 20s was, I don't want to use, it's hard to use this word authentic because it's being overused and maybe misused, but I still love it. It's just a word that doesn't deserve all this bad rap. Yeah. I'm really getting people to be themselves on camera, which is the greatest gift they can give themselves. And in return, you're giving your audience permission to do the same, which is your greatest gift to them as well.
Yeah.
And I, you know, I've been kind of doing public speaking and, you know, all that sort of stuff for kind of 20-ish years. And I still went along to Egg's workshop as a participant thinking, I know that I can go to the next level. And, you know, I had that growth mindset and, you know, I know you guys do as well. And it really is amazing that it's such a subtle difference in what Egg teaches. But once it kind of sunk in, I was just like, oh, holy shit. It's that difference between, you know, when you stand up and you feel like you've got to be on.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you kind of like, I'm on and I've got this persona.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is my on face.
Yeah.
This is my on vibe, right? Whereas now it's just kind of like, I'm Renee and I'm just talking to you right now on stage as I would when I'm sitting down in front of my computer or.
And isn't that exhausting?
We're sitting having a coffee. Well, yeah. Well, this isn't exhausting because I'm just talking to you like we're having coffee, right? And that's the same as what I would do now on stage, which is so different. And, you know, I ran a pilot 2-day intensive in December using exactly what Eggs taught me. And I got to the end of a 2-day workshop working intensively with clients. And at the end of it, normally I used to kind of pass out at the end of even like running a meetup event. I'd just be like, oh my God, I feel so drained. At the end of this 2 days, I was energized. I got home and I was like, blah, 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 to my husband. I actually had something left in the tank for my family, which that hasn't happened before. It was a massive shift for me. And I think that comes down to what Egg teachers in being yourself, but also it comes down to when you're doing what's in your own zone, when you're doing what you love, you come away from it with your tank full, not feeling exhausted.
I remember sending you a message saying how I'm really proud of you, Flossie, something like that, didn't I? It was because I saw you. There was no mask. There was Renee teaching. And when the Renee is there teaching and she's a good person, I just think when you're presenting in this way, the cream rises to the top.
Yeah.
You know, good people rise to the top because you get to see them. And isn't that the people that you want to see at the top?
Exactly. And we always talk about the fact that we don't want, like, you want to be an authentic version of yourself instead of the bullshit version of yourself because you want to attract the people that are attracted to your natural style so that you don't have to keep this facade up all the time. And
that's exhausting.
And it's so much easier to be you because that's all you really know and you don't have to try per se, you just have to do.
But isn't that the trickiest of questions when people go, when the worst direction bad directors give you is just be you, more you. And you're like, what does that even mean?
Well, in your 20s, that's a pretty tough direction.
I was about to say.
Oh, we allowed to swear.
Yeah. You ask someone in their 20s, just be you, who are you? And that just confuses them so much they'll go into a little like rocking motion for a little while.
Yeah, who am I?
Now that we're a little bit older.
A little bit.
Well, but others the same.
I think this is why what you guys are doing at the Business Playroom ties in so well because it's about business. It's about bringing out your skills like Renee does and has talked about looking at what are all the things that you have that you can, you know, be you in and present. So learn the way that you guys can present that in a real way that people will actually hear it and listen and take it in, but also maximize the skills within that. So you guys very early on, I mean, Andrew, I don't know how long ago you finished specifically working a job to full on kind of, was it when you moved from New Zealand or whatever that you kind of took on board, not freelance, but almost just being your own boss? But Renee, obviously you've been in that space for a long time, and you touched on the fact that you just didn't want the, the internship or whatever. Why don't you both tell us a little bit about what was it that made you go, yeah, okay, I don't want to be working for someone else. Yeah. I want to be working.
You go first, Egg.
Okay. I didn't get a job until I was 33 or 34. I learned really fast that I could stand in front of a camera and get paid well for just turning my head around like this. And I was like, man, this is really good. So after that, I actually took my art really seriously. And people talk about getting into modeling and acting and things, but it is tough, and agents always try to talk you out of it. It's a tough world, and only there's only this amount of people, but that's just life in general, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I worked really, really hard, and I trained really, really hard. And in my 20s, my ego got me out of bed, because my ego was like, right, I'm going to show my teachers who I am now. Look at me on TV. And then in my 30s, it was about money and a little bit of ego. And then in my 40s, I think this is really normal in our cycle, it's about giving back, and there's just a sense now that there was a point, not last year, the year before, where I actually stopped and went, do you know what? If you're not an adult now, you never will be. It's like now or never. And the key phrase I said to myself was, stop being afraid of yourself.
Yeah.
Stop being afraid of yourself. It's time to just like shine and be amazing, and actually allow yourself to tell people that I'm going to be amazing. I am amazing. And attracting those kind of people too,
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, it is. And it's so nice to hear, I guess, what leads you guys to where you are now. So Renee, tell us, what kind of made you think, okay, well, apart from the fact that you didn't want to do your internship.
You didn't even really go for very long into a job or the workforce at all.
Well, yeah, I actually did work all through uni. Like, some people work in hospitality. Well, I actually grew up in hospitality background, and I have small business in my blood. Yeah. So I've grown up living and breathing business, but also through my university days, I worked at IBM Global Services, PricewaterhouseCoopers. Like, I actually worked in big corporate during university, and I actually did work for an internet startup company when I finished uni for a while as well, right before the yeah.
Yeah.
And it wasn't my fault.
Man.
I know the world revolves around me, but that was not my fault. So
we've become very important people, Renee.
Well, yeah. But what actually happened for me was, when I was living in and working in that corporate world, I had like, the salary was 3 times what I was offered at Anderson's. I bought a house, I bought the car, I had the job title, I had this great big mahogany desk and a private office overlooking the MCG. Like, I was like, tick, 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 tick. And you know what? I was so fucking miserable. I was depressed. I turned up at a party. I walked in. I knew pretty much 80% of people in the room, but I walked in and all I wanted to do was go sit in a corner in fetal position and rock. I was just like, I do not want to be here. What the hell is the point? And I pretty much just aborted mission, left that party, walked out and went,
do you know,
what is the point? What is the point? And I just had to really, I hit rock bottom, and I had to find something that was more meaningful than what I was doing. And that was really my wake up call.
It's really, I just add on top of that, and I think we all have that. Well, that was exactly what happened to me. I remember it was 2008, 9, 10, and I was working on our equivalent of Neighbours or whatever your other beachy one is in Australia. Home and Away, and I had another reality TV show which was a racing car. I was hosting a racing car show, and it was just women in bikinis, and I was still at an age where that was quite cool. Yeah. And hosting the All Blacks to the weekend, going around the country with my absolute idol, Buck Shelford. And every night I went home I was miserable.
Mm.
And it was that point of everything I'd asked for was there. I had a beautiful home. I had the person I was going to marry. I had more money than what I could spend, and all this kind of, I use this word loosely, fame. And I was absolutely miserable. And it was just that, it was admitting to myself that I wasn't doing what I was meant to be doing.
Yeah.
And then allowing myself to sit in that gray area, which is really uncomfortable, to discover what that was. And how I found that was I wrote down 3 words: truth, courage, and freedom. And I started from that. And then I wrote a part of a book about truth, courage, and freedom. And it all moved from there. And it kind of morphed into where I am now.
Yeah.
And it sounds like these 2 moments were quite really defining moments in both of your life, I guess. And it really made you look at what success is to you. So moving out of, okay, well, a defining moment has happened. I've decided that I'm really unhappy and I don't want to be in this world that I've created for myself, or other people sometimes have created for us. That's, when we're in our 20s and people think that they know better than what our intuition knows. What did you decide was your definition of success moving out of that, Renee?
So for me, what was missing there, which was obviously a big key, was meaning. I needed to be doing something with my life that felt like it had a purpose, that it was making a difference to someone somewhere. And, where I was in that IT company just didn't feel like I was doing that. I was the only female in an all-male company, and I had a lot of fun entertaining everyone, but it wasn't deep, and so really, I think that's the number one key for me, is that whatever I do has to have purpose and meaning. But also I think that needs to be tied in with having a deep personal knowledge of who I am, like knowing myself.
Yeah.
So it's knowing myself, having meaning, and then it's always about connections, community, relationships.
Yeah.
It's about, who am I actually sharing that with? Because I could have that meaning and I could know myself deeply, but I'm not the kind of person who wants to do that and sit in a cave on my own with it.
No.
I need to be sharing that with people, and that's my husband and my children. But I also live in an eco village where it's an intentional community. We all know each other. I thoroughly believe it takes a village to raise a child. There's no way I can do it on my own.
Village for the family, like if
yeah. So that's kind of what success looks like for me. And, and I'm so lucky that during my work, I get to fulfill all of that stuff. I can show up and be me, and I can talk about business porn, and I can swear in my business. I couldn't have done any of that stuff in corporate. I mean, God, I was so squashed. So
corporate, you really have to leave your personality at the door, right? It's like, okay, I'm now going to take on the brand of this business that I'm representing, and we're all going to become robots. And when we leave, I wonder if this is why people go crazy at the parties when they're off the clock.
I was like Friday night drinks, doing shots, lying on the bar, all that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It was fun though.
It was, yeah. But
do
you know what? I'm so relieved that I did all of that stuff before the age of social media, because there is no evidence I ever did that.
We were just talking about this, Renee, a couple of days ago. We're like, I have a book that I want to write, but I just can't write that yet because I need my audience to know who I am now before I go tell them what I've been up to.
Yeah, that's right. You need to know that they know that now.
I'm not a bad person.
Yes.
It's got to be.
I've done some really dodgy shit, but I'm not a bad person.
So what about you, Andrew?
Andrew, what is your what does success look like after the bikinis? Basically, you're standing there presenting with the bikinis and the All Blacks. Like, what made you go, okay, well, I don't really think that this is a successful version of myself?
It was that feeling that I had. That same feeling. I knew intrinsically that I had a message to tell one to many. I just hadn't become clear on what that was. And if I was to be honest, that message is getting more defined by absolutely every single day. Where I started off in Australia last year when I met Renee is very different to what I'm teaching right now.
Yeah.
Last year I was teaching presenting. Now I'm teaching people to really understand. I'm almost introducing them to themselves on stage so they have this immense sense of freedom to express themselves.
Yeah.
And I can see that light bulb moment when that happens. You see me work. You can see people drop. There's that penny drops, and all of a sudden the spark goes on in their eyes, and all that's happened is you've turned their light on.
Yeah.
And everyone realizes that they have a gift. So success for me is really kind of being brave and getting out of my own way and allowing my gift, allow me to use my gift to help switch someone else's light on. Do you know what I mean? And I've known that's one to many for, over a couple of decades now. Yeah. I'm only just really doing it.
And a lot of people, this is a common theme, right? People look at what success is for them, and it's actually seeing the light bulb moments in the people that they're working with versus what am I getting? What am I doing? How much am I getting paid? How much am I spending time with celebrities?
Take it away from you,
take that
and how about
you focus of service to people, and you get so much happiness and joy from just watching your impact on people and watching them go and spread their wings.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I believe in, if you chase excellence, the money will come.
Yes.
Do you know, that's all. As if I just know, and Renee, I'm sure you're the same, as if I just become amazing or brilliant or the best at what I can do, then it's impossible that it won't be successful. It won't bring me freedom. It won't bring the money. That all just comes. Yeah. But I just need to get for me, it's the results from people. Do you know what I mean? It's just, if I can just get in front of people, turn their light on, and then they go tell 10 more people. It just moves like that.
Yeah. It's beautiful to see both of you now knowing that you're living that much closer, either living the success you want or every day. Like you said, Andrew, it's getting more and more refined. So you're getting closer and closer and closer and closer every day to just really having everything just the way you want it. And I think this is all a really important message when it comes to business, because a lot of people that are in business think that others, it just happens like that. They don't realize that there is I think the evolution of business, like you said, 12 months ago, I was doing something different. Like, it's allowed to change and evolve and change. So what if we just take a moment to even look at, once you're in that business journey, can you tell us an early struggle you had in business that maybe you've overcome now, but back then it held you back or made it more difficult for you to, take the next step?
Renee.
Yeah, Renee, you tell me yours, I'll tell you mine.
That's how you got me to be on the show, you weirdo. Just kidding, Danny. So basically I spent, I say I've been in business for 17 years, but if you think, I talk about the journey of a coach or a thought leader to success. And you start out in this phase called chaos. And this is where it's like, well, who do you serve? Fuck, anyone with a heartbeat. Like, you're going to give me money, I'll do whatever you want.
They want me, I want them. You've got a pulse.
Yes, give it to me, right? So that's that chaos stage. Then you kind of move into clarity where it's okay, I know who my ideal client is, I know what problems I solve, solutions I provide. Then you start to build some credibility when you've got some experience and runs on the board. And then once you can solidify that into, intellectual property and assets, then you've really kind of made your mark and you've created your legacy. And for me, hand on heart, I admit, I spent so many times cycling back into chaos that it is not funny.
Yeah.
Because I resisted, because I'm smart.
Yes, I can do this. I don't need other people.
So, you know what? I don't give a shit if everyone else says I need to nail my ideal client and nail my niche, because I'm different. Okay? And I can do it my way, and I'm smart, and I'm going to make it work my way. And I can work with anyone because actually I'm really flexible, and I can just, come on, Renee. Slow fucking learner.
Was that the time that the adrenal fatigue kicked in?
Well, if I've cycled back into that kind of state, that's probably, that would be where, and it's only really the last, I'd probably say 3 or 4 years where I really have just owned my zone.
Yeah.
And But really that struggle for me was I resisted determining who my ideal client was and actually being really, really serious with myself about what my gift was, what my unique gift was. Because, even 2 years ago when I wrote my book, I wrote I did not write the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
But I could have. If I had had that idea, I could have written it.
Oh my God,
I am that smart.
I'm so goddamn smart. Oh my God.
It's just an example of my smartness.
I think I got the biggest head ever. How many times have I said I'm smart in this? It's because you guys are smart chicks. Like, it's
that's right.
like subliminal messaging. I want to belong. But so I wrote my book 2 years ago. Share your passion. The 7 stages to leverage your expertise and make difference. Basically, it's about taking the stuff out of your head, turning it into courses, programs, leverage products, that one-to-many thing. But it was essentially a 7-stage process about creating courses, right? And I wrote a book on it. I taught it. I ran lots of programs around that. And every single time I would get to stage 4, I'd go, oh my God, this is the best bit. I get so juiced about this.
I love this.
This is the bit I love. Like, this is where the porn is. This is like orgasmic. Let's do this bit. You're going to love it. Every time I get to stage 4.
Yeah.
And then I'd continue the rest of the program.
Yeah.
And, I did not listen to myself saying, this is my best bit. This is the bit I love.
Yeah.
And it was only really partway through last year where I went, just do stage 4.
Yeah.
Just do that bit. That's what I worked with you guys on, wasn't it, in that session?
Yeah, that's right.
It's creating the intellectual property assets. That's my zone. Like, I do that in my sleep.
Yeah.
And this is interesting, right? Because people that have only...
Which is concerning in all itself.
Yeah.
My poor husband, as I'm molding his body into a visual model. Sorry.
For people that have only just met you in the last 12 months and they've only known this version of you, it's very easy as well for people to think, okay, well, Renee's this overnight success. But what they don't realise is you've gone through the stages of really putting in the hours and establishing what you've just said. Okay, well, I've done all this other stuff that I'm good at and I'm skilled at, but did it light me up? It lit me up more than being in the finance industry at the parties with the people that you didn't really want to hang out with, but it isn't necessarily your purpose. So it takes a while sometimes, doesn't it, to really get
it can.
Listen to your own intuition. Like, what am I actually here for and what makes me happy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my tip there would just be listen to the words coming out of your own mouth.
Yes.
Like, if you are saying, I love doing this, this is so awesome, like, that's a clue, people.
Or the converse to that. Yeah, or the converse to that. God, I hate doing this.
Yeah.
God, I hate doing this. Like, this just sucks me dry. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Find someone else to do it. Find a Stevie.
It's funny.
If it sucks you dry, it's the opposite of business porn, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Andrew, tell us.
So, struggle. What did you?
What was the question?
What did you struggle with?
Sorry, tangents.
The business journey part. So you'd already decided you're really going to create this way for you to share one-to-many. You touched earlier on the fact that even 12 months ago, what you're doing was different to what you're doing now. So that's, I'm guessing, one of the struggles you had early on in this journey is you've got to start somewhere, right? So you started with what you knew that you felt, but you then let it evolve.
I kind of feel like many of us, probably all of us, but many of us are aware we take our gift for granted. And I used to teach presenting. My agent used to send me all their talent. Can you prepare them for this audition? I used to just think, I'm okay at this. And then agencies would hire me to come in and train their talent so that they would get a higher percentage of knocking off their auditions. And of course, you take it for granted. And I'm going to tell you something here, Renee, that you probably don't know either. I let the cat out of the bag. When I came and did my first workshop in March, for the first 30 minutes, I pretended to be what I thought they would want over here. But yet I was copying other people.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even my language. It was shit that had nothing to do with who I am and what I teach. And then I looked at the faces in that room and I went, I'm losing these guys. So we sat down and worked. And one person went up first, and I believe his name was Caleb. And I just started doing what I do. I was filling I basically at the beginning, I was just drawing crosses and things, arrows that go up and whatever was coming through to me. And then I corrected them. And I could see the look in Caleb's eyes and the other people in the room of they hadn't quite seen that before. And it dawned upon me that night that I'm actually really fucking good at this. So that gave me that little piece of confidence that I probably never had in this gift because I'd taken it for granted all that time. And then from there, it just grew. I was like, screw it. I'm going on a national tour now, even though I don't know anybody. And Renee, you know this story. It's like, screw it, I'm off. And then I worked my ass off.
Yeah.
You know, I was working to a point, I had a twitchy eye and, you know, I'm sure I was thinning but I was like, holy shit, this is happening. That little seed that was growing in my 20s is actually happening now. Don't stop.
Yeah.
And I was getting excited. And right now, I've never felt more congruent in my life as to what I'm doing. Like my current workshops are so far removed from where I was in March last year to where I am now, where for me, this is just bloody playtime now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And, you know, and what's super cool and the reason that you've come so far so quickly, you know, for everyone else looking on the outside, you know, I see what happens behind closed doors and inside, and, you know, I'm sure you don't mind me telling people.
No.
But what Egg does so fucking well and what makes him stand out from other entrepreneurs is he fails forward fast.
Yes.
I have no sense of embarrassment or there is none.
Yeah,
And,
where other people will sit at home going, I think I might run a workshop and go, yeah, all right, maybe in 12 months I'll run a workshop. And then they'll kind of tentatively put a date in their diary and then think about what they're going to talk about for 12 months.
Yeah.
Egg will just put the date in for like 2 weeks from now, book it in, pay the venue, lock it in.
Try and find the people.
Get bums on seats.
Yes.
And he'll show up and do his thing. It's like,
That's such
and that lack of fear of, well, I could totally fall on my ass and screw this up.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you do surely. Do you have fear as well around it anyway, Egg?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I've only just stopped feeling like a fraud.
Yeah, but you do it anyway. Like you might feel shit, no one will turn up, but you still bloody do it, and people turn up.
This is like my London experiment.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know. It's literally. I don't know. I know no one in London.
Yeah.
But I want to show other entrepreneurs. This is directly around the subject. Is I want to show other entrepreneurs what is involved in me running a workshop in London. I don't know anybody, and I want them to see the fear, the anxiety, the mistakes, the fails, what it takes, who I've met, how I followed that up, all the wee steps that it takes. And it's not that glamorous. But the last part is...
the real part.
Yes. Yeah.
Gosh, if people only saw behind the scenes for the business playroom, it might look all glamour and glitz, like, woohoo!
But it's chaos. It is chaos.
It's organised chaos. It's organised chaos.
Yeah. But it's chaos with trust. You know you can do it. You just have to do. If I give this 100%, it's going to be just fine. It's only going to fail if I only give it 80 or 90%. I'm leaving a 10% gap there to fail.
Well, we've definitely worked out why there aren't a whole lot of other people doing it, Egg, haven't we?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Groundbreaking.
So tell us, guys, you've come together for the business playroom. So you know, the guys that are listening have learned a bit about your individual businesses, and you've met and you've decided that you gel and you've created this show. So what is the legacy that you want to leave for everyone with this show coming together? Tell everyone what you're thinking.
Well, I think, you know, what really strikes us, and, you know, you guys will be aware of this, is that 60% of businesses fail in the first 3 years.
Yeah.
And that's just crazy.
Yeah.
And so I guess with the business playroom, what we aim to do is bring the experts to people who can't otherwise afford them.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if you don't know what you don't know the questions to ask, you don't know who to ask them from, you don't know, you know, most of us lack role models of successful business people in our lives that we can easily go to and get the answers from. So with the business playroom, we wanted to bring that information to people. free, that's, but also to do it in a fun way, because Egg and I don't like to take ourselves too seriously.
Yeah, it's got to be fun. I mean, failing has got to be fun, believe it or not. Like, everything you do in business has to be fun. And you have to be prepared to ask people that know, that have either done something before you or whatever, to learn faster, so that you're not trying to work it out all on your own, and you've got to have fun along the way. So so exciting.
I'm assuming too that, oh, sorry, go, Egg.
I was just thinking, you hit on a really nice point there, Renee, of you don't know what you don't know, and you don't have that support network around you. One of the best things I learned last year was every time you started to grow, often the support network around you becomes irrelevant, because they don't have the tools to help you feel normal up here. When you just keep moving, and all of a sudden you're going, I feel really lonely again. And these people, I need to feel like the responsibility I have up here now is normal, and I can cope. And this is how you cope with it. And these are the new tools now to go to the next level.
Yeah. And, there probably is a bit of selfishness in us doing it too, Egg, because, we're the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with, right? So if we're hanging around in the studio at the Business Playroom with some pretty cool fucking experts, that's, it's, for me, I mean, the 2 days of filming season 2 were just fantastic.
Can I give you guys an example of something?
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember there's one of our guests was the amazing Andrew Griffiths. And I mean, he's a keynote speaker. He's written a whole lot of successful books. And I was watching, we were in the editing room, I was watching, putting it together. And when Andrew spoke, I was just like hitting me going, I believe this man. I believe him. Everything he's saying, I believe him. And then when I spoke, I was kind of going, I feel like a little kid.
Yeah.
And I was going, what's happening here? Like, I'm 44 and I feel like the teenager in this relationship on screen. And I thought to myself, he just embodies and believes what he's saying.
Yeah.
And he's older than me. And I asked him, remember I was on on a webinar or something with you, a Zoom call with you.
We're having a meeting with him on Zoom,
Yeah. And I just asked Andrew, what is the difference between when you're my age and your age? And he just goes, all it is I believe what I say now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Believe it's different. And that was what I came to the conclusion of. It's just embodying that.
And I agree with that. Like he embodies everything, and he just speaks with 100% truth, and he knows his shit. Like, he knows that what he's saying works. Yeah. Guys, now tell us.
And to know your shit, you just have to start your shit.
Yeah, you just got to start.
Just start.
I mean, the Business Playroom is something that you want to create this amazing community around as well. So we know that you've got a Kickstarter campaign where the community that really backs you is actually here to help you produce this amazing show every year. And I know that you're into the second series. So I did want to actually talk about that just briefly, because we do have the Kickstarter link for everyone to just have a look at as well. So what are you kind of hoping to achieve from the campaign?
Well, I think, when Egg came to me last year and said, hey, I'm putting on a TV show, do you want to be on it? And I was like, yes! I had no idea what I was getting myself into. But, for any of you out there who are just thinking, oh my God, I would love to be involved with this show, like, you can have your name up on the screen in the credits, like, be part of the show. Like, we really want to involve people and have people part of it. We want people to, jump on board and have your name up in lights with us, and but also be part of the movement that is bringing this fantastic expertise to people in a fun way. We just really want people to get on board and be part of the community. So
that's it. That's pretty much it, is helping us fund free information from people that you'd normally pay $10,000 to go see or to hear or to get coaching by. You're getting you're getting this information for free. I remember having this aha moment listening to, I think, Mark Bonas and Andrew Griffiths or Michael Griffiths, and just going, I can't believe I'm in a position listening to all this information that I would literally pay tens of thousands of dollars to be mentored by you. And I'm getting all this for free. And we're passing that on for free. And we want you to be able to be a part of that process. Become a producer, become a co-producer, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
The people who are listening at home as well, you can expect to receive an email from Renee and Andrew, and they will actually tell you when the Business Playroom has actually been produced and goes live. So that's really exciting. That's actually a great additional free gift that they're going to be sharing with you. But they've also got a community pitch that they would love to invite you to. So Renee, what is your Facebook group called?
So my personal Facebook group is Coaches and Thought Leaders Brains Trust. So I'm sure we'll put the link in the notes as well. I'd love you to come along and join us there. But also we have a group, a community for the Business Playroom as well. So yes, definitely come and join us there too.
As well.
And Andrew, do you have a Facebook group? Yeah, what's it called?
I do. It's called The Heart of Presenting. And to be fair, I am pretty selective about who goes in there because it needs to be, and it is, a real fun, safe place to play. So, people are doing their first Facebook Lives in there or their first videos, and there's lots of challenges, and there's a lot of silliness in there just to create that environment where it's okay. It's okay to play. It's fun to play. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Guys, we could chat to you all day. You know that. We've done it before.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
So much listening. We hope you've enjoyed it. We have.
Yes. We look forward to coming to Melbourne and sitting around at a lunch and what have you and continuing the conversation.
Nice.
It's been guests.
Sounds great. Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks, guys. We appreciate holding the space for us.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.